here's a scenario. What happens if you've just finished your calories for the day, next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock at night, someone busts out some kind of dessert, you really want a bit of it, but you're like, nah, I can't fit it in today's caloric needs. Well, actually you can. Let's say you have 200-300 calories worth of dessert, just log it in the next day's calories. So if you're eating, say, 2,600 a day, 300 calories of dessert, log it into tomorrow's calories, and that will leave you 2,300 calories tomorrow that you need to hit. So yes, it's less than you normally would eat, but over the space of the 2 days, the total calories, so 6 plus 2, 6 is 5,200. It's the total calories are the same, so the results are going to be the same. So that's one solution you can do to fixing if you have a muck up or if you really want to just have a higher calorie day. Every single day doesn't have to have the exact same calories. You could have 3 or 4 higher calorie days and 2 or 3 lower, as long as the weekly total puts you into a deficit. Something else I want to clear up is using the scales for weight loss and weight fluctuations. I believe that using the scales is a semi-accurate way of determining fat loss. There are some factors that are going to hinder that, like there's things like muscle gain and stuff. So ultimately, guys and girls, if you're having to add an extra notch on your belt or your pants are feeling looser around the waist and things like that, it's a good sign that you're losing fat from around your midsection. And also the mirror is your best friend. You see yourself every day in the mirror, you can see these small changes happening. People around you might not notice them straight away because they don't see you shirtless or whatever in your underwear. But when it comes to the scales and weighing yourself, bear in mind there's going to be weight fluctuations. I've got a graph here on my phone that I want to show you, which is my weight over the last 1 to 2.5 weeks. As you can see, that scale is spiking up and down. There's fluctuations of 800 gram on this day, 700 gram. There is a bit of consistency in there, so like some days I'll drop 100 gram the next day, I'll drop 100 gram the next day, I'll drop 100 gram, and yes, I do weigh myself every day, but that's because I like to track these fluctuations. But when you have a graph like that and you have like spiking up and down, up and down, up and down, you will see an average of it sliding down on the graph, and therefore you can see that even though some days you might be retaining a little bit more water because you had more sodium in the meal the night before and stuff like that, and the weight spiking all over the show, you can still see that slowly it is tapering down. I'm a firm believer in that it is extremely hard to put on any decent amount of muscle while in a caloric deficit. Yes, you might lose 4 or 5 kilos of fat, and you might gain 300-400 gram of muscle, but you ain't ever going to lose 5 kilo of fat and put on 5 kilo of muscle. So I'm using the scales as an accurate way to determine my fat loss. But I did get a DEXA scan at the start, and I am going to get a DEXA scan again in the coming weeks to monitor how this process is going, and I'll give you guys the results from there. So getting scans and stuff is probably a more accurate way to determine the exact amount of fat loss, so you're not losing muscle. But obviously we don't all have access and the money to pay for some of these scans, so sometimes the scales just have to do. But like I said, the mirror can also be your best friend. And one more bit of boring ass sitting here talking to the camera, and I just want to quickly explain cheat meals and how people can get them awfully wrong. The word cheat in itself is a bad word, and these meals shouldn't be looked at as cheating from your diet. You can program these meals into your dieting process so that they benefit you and aid in the fat loss process. How do you make a cheat meal work for fat loss, do you ask? Well, first of all, let's cover where people go wrong. People look at a cheat meal as a chance to go out and eat anything they want in copious amounts. Let's say over the course of the day you're in a 500 calorie deficit. So that times 7, 3,500 calorie deficit a week. Over 2 weeks, that's 7,000 calories. But if you go out on let's say the Saturday of the second week, and you're like, oh great, cheat meal day, it's not hard to put away 2,000 calories in one meal. And what can sometimes happen when people have cheat meals is it leads into a bit of a cheat day, and they're like, stuff it, I've been good for 2 weeks now, I can play up for this one day, eat all the food that I want, get back on track tomorrow. Well, guess what? You can undo a week, week and a half, almost 2 weeks work in less than 24 hours by overeating foods. So an unstructured cheat meal is one quick fire way to ruin your diet, have you dieting for 10 weeks, not really getting anywhere, getting frustrated, thinking that it's the calories that you're having day in, day out. No, it's just that you're overeating on that one day. How do you structure a cheat meal? Alright, without getting too complicated, when you diet, there's hormones in your body that drop, things like ghrelin, leptin, and other things like that, which are responsible for your appetite and the fat burning and stuff in your body. So these things drop when you're in a caloric deficit. And most of these hormones are fueled by carbohydrates. So every now and then it doesn't hurt to have a high carbohydrate refeed meal in order to spike those hormones up and keep that fat burning fire going in the weeks to come. The leaner you are, the more common you're going to need them. Like if you're under 10% body fat, you're thinking, one every 1 to 2 weeks. But if you've got 20, 30 kilos of fat, so you should only be having one a month. Just getting ready for the gym with my pre-workout Skittles. So what you would do to structure a cheat meal. Alright, so say it's coming to that time when you actually need one, but before you go and commit to doing one of these, talk to a coach about when the most necessary time to actually do it is. But how would I do it? Alright, I'd wait till the day when I was doing one of my heavier sessions, like for me, when I was training legs, I'd do lots of squats or deadlifts or something like that. And on that day, I would, if I normally ate 2,600 calories, I'd aim to eat roughly about 3,600 with at least 50% of those calories coming from carbohydrates, most probably more, like 60%. I would use those extra calories to fuel the workout and hopefully help, well, one day I'm going to build a whole lot of muscle, put it that way, but help retain the muscle that is currently in my legs. And then the next day I would drop back down to my calories, my normal calories of 2,600, but I would cop that calorie surplus on the day, and I wouldn't try to fix that one, but because I know it would benefit me down the track. A very small step backwards to take 10 steps forward. That is the purpose of a refeed meal, sorry. So that is how you do cheat meals. Next time, you're on your diet and you want to go out and pig out, it's not an excuse to go and eat anything and everything under the sun, especially when you've been dieting for a long period of time. Generally, well, I know I can eat more when I'm dieting as to when I'm in a calorie surplus. People say, oh, but your stomach shrinks. Well, personally, mine never has. I just constantly am hungry. I never get used to the dieting phase, and I'm always just thinking about food. On that note, time to go finish this off, time to go train. I get stuck into the new gym that I've signed up, the Ninja Academy, which I'll show you some footage of in this video here, which I'm very excited to be training at. My training and that seems a bit more interesting in that again. And I'm excited for what's to come and some new goals in that. See you around.
This is all I want.